Yesterday, I started out announcing that I would like to teach um, if anybody wants to follow along, because I am starting to um, be near where I will be doing naaxiin techniques. And so there's been this great resurgence of our weavers, and we're all excited about bringing back an ancient technique and dancing it and incorporating it back into our ceremonies, and it's been really exciting. And that the northern geometric weaving is just really spicing up our looks and our dancing and our presentation, and it's just wonderful. And what's also really wonderful is that it's started the people being interested in the naaxiin. And so naaxiin, just the designing of it is form line, and the techniques are very similar to Raven's Tail. You have the basic twining, and there's 3-strand. The extra thing about the form line is that the color areas are joined. They have interlock joins, they have step joins, and then all those joins are smoothed over with braided 3-strand twining. So I'll be doing all of that when I'm doing the copper shield shape. And so while I was weaving, I was thinking that that would be a perfect time to talk and demonstrate naaxiin, and in kind of a workshop format where I would bring you through that shape. And in order to do that, you need the warp and a makeshift loom. And so that's what I said yesterday. And I just wanted to talk to you about traditionally, we northern Northwest Coast weavers used the mountain goat. And there is evidence that we did have the dog too. In some of the Haida myths and stories, we talk about the dogs being part of our society and even our spiritual beliefs. So the dogs were very important to us. And they were important to weavers too. But the majority of the fiber that we work with in the northern area would be the mountain goat. So I'm fortunate enough to have some mountain goat. And so there's the mountain goat that is hard to find, and it's no longer a trade item. So it's very difficult for the weavers to find. And if your brother or your boyfriend or you yourself are a hunter, that's great. And I hope that it keeps on being a fiber that we incorporate into our garments. But mostly we like to work with the more readily available merino. And merino is, it can come in rovings. So I have a cleaned and loosely rolled, but it's a roving. There's no ply to it, and but it's a beautiful material, and you have to handle it gently and with knowledge. So it's a lovely material, and they use a merino because it's soft, like the original mountain goat was. It's the under all that guard hair, there's this beautiful wool, and they would spin that, and the merino wool seems to be a lot like that. So then there is also what they call finger roving. So it's already been it doesn't have any plies either, but it's already been pulled and processed into a real usable, like the name says, a fingering. This one that I have here has rolls out with 6. See it? It comes out with the 6 real thin strands. And what's great about this is that if you want 10 EPI, then you use so many strands. If you want 12 EPI, which is thinner, then you would use less strands. So so there's this. I like working with this because it's so manageable as far as the EPI. You can determine EPI really easy when you're using that source. But I also like to use a loppy. So loppy is very loosely twisted and quite thick, actually. So it's, if you were to do a very huge project and you needed big warp for some reason, I don't use that big warp, but loppy is a good training material. So when you're learning to spin, it's fun and easier to see the dynamics of the spin with a larger material. So then let's go to the loom, the makeshift loom. I have this great, beautiful floor loom. I have 2 or 3 of those floor looms because sometimes I like to have 2 robes going or 2 projects going. I'm crazy. Anyway, but if you're stuck without a loom and you're somewhere and you want your fingers working, there's lots of ways to do it. Here's, I wanted to work out this pattern. I'd never done it before with this. If you want to, lots of times you want to make sure that your material, I've got really fine weft or warp here. And so I wanted to work out this design in really fine weft and really fine warp, and I wanted to see what size it would come out with. So it wasn't going to be a project, but I didn't have a drilled loom bar. So so I just had some very flexible metal wire, and I just wired it up, and there I go. So that was one of the makeshift looms. Here's another one. So I wanted to, actually this is an ongoing project for a gift for my surgeon who took out half my liver and helped me survive. And anyway, he's still waiting. But you see that that's kind of a thick piece of wood, and I've tied it up and drilled it in the center. I think I asked someone, and I really wasn't that specific about explaining what I wanted or what I was doing. But anyway, there's a makeshift loom bar. And then I also have, what I'm suggesting for this project, I'm having a yard, or not a yardstick, but a measuring stick, 12 inches, and here's something that I worked out that wasn't going to be anything either. I just wanted to work out this spiral weft design that I'd never done before, and I wanted to figure it out. So I hung it on a makeshift loom, which is perfect for, you can get them anywhere in any hardware store, and then you just drill 1 inch apart. And they're so easy to drill 1 inch apart because they're already stamped with those 1 inches. So it's perfect. So that's what I suggest you do, is get one of these and drill them, and then hang your warp. Your lack of material holds you back if you really want to weave. If you're someplace where you don't have the warp or anything, then and again, here's something I was going, I fixed because someone in my class was allergic to wool, and so I got some good dense cotton twine about the same size as we were working in wool, for someone who was allergic to wool. And again, there's your little not yardstick, but measuring stick. So you'll also need a nice strong, this is linen material there, so that you will wrap your warp on the loom. So I'm just assuming that everybody has experience with the weaving of the raven's tail to start this project with the naaxiin techniques. But a lot of times people who are learning get this material handed to them in workshops and in classrooms, and so and then they order kits that have the material and instructions and everything too, and so they really don't get the experience of spinning. So in this one episode of preparing for the naaxiin class, I'd like to show you and demonstrate some spinning. So I think I'll first show you in the loppy, because like I say, it's really easy to see. So I'm gonna cut a piece of the loppy, and I'm going to bend it in half equal, and then I'm going to tie it right there at the bend. So it's okay, and I'll show it to you right now. Now I'm wearing very dark jeans, and you don't want to use dark jeans in your spinning, because it will use some warm water, and that will help the friction of the spinning, and it will also pick up the blue jean dye in your jeans. So you really don't want to use the blue jeans that I'm using right now. I'm using them because the contrasting colors will help you see what I'm doing. But at home, when you start spinning, use either white jeans, or I know some people love to use some waffle textured beige or white long johns. So anyway, I'll move forward so that I can show you how to spin. I've got a bowl of water. You want to have a bowl of water nearby. And okay, so I've got my 2 plies, and I bring it up, way up on my hip, and then I'm going to reach over and wet my hand, and then wet the material. And it doesn't have to be soaking wet. And sometimes I wet my pants too. So I'll wet my pants there. Okay, and then I'm going to separate them quite far apart, very far apart. And then I'm going to put, I'm holding the knotted end here, and I'm going to bring let's see, 1 ply will be up near your fingertips, and 1 ply will be back nearer to the palm, the base of your fingers. So roll it down, and they're rolling both in a S direction. And you're going to roll all the way down to the bottom of your palm of your hand. And then you're going to release that hand, the one that had been pinching that knot. And you can see it bounced up on itself with a Z twist, right? Okay, so now grab where that, where it's not twisting, and then bring it all the way up, back up your thigh, down. Don't let those 2 plies, don't let them tangle into each other. Okay, both of them are plying an S twisted direction. Then you release it, and they bounce up on themselves in a Z direction. Okay, Now notice it's this hand that I'm pinching that will, is what I release, not this hand that I was rolling, okay? So then it's really important to take your hand and smooth out both plies each time, because as you're twisting them together, they are twisting out here too, so they will get tangled if you don't every time smooth them out and separate them. So we've got a big warp here because we're working with a big material. But that is the basic action. Basic action. Okay. Okay, so let me show you with this 6-ply is the finger roving. So let me pull them apart. I like to pull these materials apart because when you splice them, then you have a real good place where they'll grab onto each other and seamlessly splice. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 and 3. So let me knot those together at this end, and then I've got 3 and 3 on each side. So I'm going to give them, wet them, and then roll down my thigh, release the pinch, release the pinch, a lot of times people will, after they've released that pinch, they'll roll it back up their thigh, and that kind of tightens that twist. So release the pinch and release the pinch. So I imagine, you don't have time to go find a spinner who's going to spin for you. You're lucky if you can, but if you don't, you need to take a few hours as you're watching TV with some yarn. Now, if you don't have roving or loppy or anything around, you can use regular yarn. You S-twist it, spin it down your thigh. It'll go along good because it's S-twisted already, and it'll just S-twist more, and then you release it, and then it'll Z-twist. So regular yarn is fine. I thought for sure I had a regular yarn to show you. But anyway, you can spin that. It doesn't have to be roving. It doesn't have to be merino. This is something that you want to do, and we're going to do it. And again, these are naaxiin techniques, but we're working in real small sections, and so if these are tightly spun raven's tail warps, which I'm using with my raven's tail robe, you can learn these lessons. So thank you, and I hope that you're getting ready. Hawa.